Welcome back to Foodie down Bronx. I'm your host, The Hungry Dominican. My guest grew up right here in the Bronx and is well known not only for her brunch parties, but for also being Talib Kweli's personal chef. Please welcome to the show, Chef MariVee. Hello, Chef.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So you, right before we started taping, you told me I'm from where the Joker Stairs are from.
Yes.
That's your neighborhood.
Yes.
So there's a lot that I want to talk to you about, but I definitely want to get your thoughts on what's been going on with the Joker Stairs. You heard my little monologue there, my opinion. What is your opinion about what's been going on? You have tourists, not just from the States, but international. They're coming now to the Bronx, and now it's become this hub. And I'm assuming that Halloween night, it's going to be a pretty big deal. So how do you feel about what's been going on there?
Well, I would like to say that, again, I didn't even know initially that this movie has been filmed there. And then when I seen the stairs, I was like, oh,
That looks familiar.
These infamous stairs are the stairs that I went down almost every day in my youth. So for the most part, what I say is that I do love that people are coming out to actually see this landmark, as we can call it now, a landmark.
I think it's officially a landmark for sure.
Officially now,
for sure.
But again, what do I must say I have to agree to disagree with those people coming in is because when it wasn't in the movie, there was nothing there.
Right.
You weren't coming to the Bronx just to take a photo. You were coming to the Bronx for the Yankee game and things of that sort. And I love that you implement, if you are coming just to take a photo, please go to the corner store. Please invest in the community and building us up there, because that was one of my biggest problems, is that the community itself, it's taken a long time to come up.
Sure.
It's taken a long time to come up.
Sure.
And
I understand that, and you know, and again, it's like I understand both sides. I try to be very open-minded when it comes to discussions about the Bronx in general. But you know, I've lived in neighborhoods growing up where I think the core fear is that people think that, or you know, perhaps maybe they're right, that once we get all this attention, then that might mean something very bad. And that's the big G word, gentrification, or all of a sudden we have this spotlight. I've lived in neighborhoods where I've seen past and present. I've seen things change, and so I can understand where people's fear comes from, but I just feel like it's not so much about saying, hey, we're okay with the change. It's more about, you know, let's just sort of all work together to as a community to embrace what is inevitable.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And not so much give it a pushback, but say, hey, if you're at least going to be here, you know, patronize.
Yes.
Buy something.
And
shop
also
around.
embrace the culture that was already there.
Exactly.
Opposed to, like you said, a big word you used was gentrifying, and that's what we are more scared of, is the gentrification of it.
Yes.
For me, at least, I know I would love to see the gentrification, because I also know that would provide some type of just more opportunities for the community to see that, again, there's people that's living this way, there's people that's living that way, but we all can come together and be one and be this community. So I do like the fact that, again, people are coming over to see the stairs, but can we do more than just see the stairs?
Right. But you know, it's a mixed bag for sure. But yeah, I feel like, you know, the least we could say to people is, all right, take your pictures, dance your little Joker dance, but you know, make sure you take your friends out and have some fun in that neighborhood, and then hopefully that could be beneficial to everyone there.
And research those actual restaurants that are,
Absolutely,
you know, for the community, and not just the delis that's on every corner, because I want to implement the nutrition that's coming in to the Bronx, and that's where we have a lack of, is the nutrition aspect.
So let's get into that, because I mean, there's so much that I want to talk to you about, but so let's go kind of a little bit in order here.
Right.
Tell me about your history as a chef. You have about 9 years, I believe, as a...
Well, professionally, 9 years. I've been working as a chef for about 15, or I would say working on my craft for about 15 years. 9 years professionally with Kweli, as he was the first person to actually believe in me and believe in my skills and what I have to offer. So yes.
So take me through that timeline. How do we get from, your love of food, which I'm assuming started at a young age,
Yes.
right to you being Talib Kweli's personal chef. Take me to that ride.
Okay, so as you said, it started off fairly young, and it kind of stemmed off from the lack of food that I was able to get or reach. So the options that I only had as a child was the McDonald's. That's again, if my mother wasn't cooking, but at a point in my time, my father actually got sick, and my mother was taking care of my father for the most part. So again, for the options that I had, it was McDonald's, the KFC, the Popeyes, and things of that sort. Once I started seeing that that was the only options I had in my particular community, I started branching out more, looking into the market, seeing what type of actual produce were being brought into the markets and things of that sort. And then I went out to, Midtown and in downtown and compared. Like, why is it that we're getting this produce and that area is getting a certain produce, and it was just strange for me to actually grasp that idea that, hey, because you live in a minority area, you're getting the worst end of produce and food, and you don't have options at that for food.
Right.
So that's where my journey stemmed from. And then, like I said, Kweli, roughly when I was about 20, I went out to California with him. He had a huge gig for New Year's, and he actually asked if anyone wanted to eat. And everyone is hungry. It's New Year's, we had a little bit of drinks. So he asked if we were hungry. When he did ask, he was like, oh, I know of a great restaurant. Once he's done that, we sat down that day, and there is when he actually offered me my position as a chef, because I started to talk about my background and what I came from as a chef.
And so going back to growing up in the Bronx, and I'm sure this is something that you brought up to Talib as well, you were conscious of the fact at a young age, that difference between the food accessibility, right, that you have in the Bronx versus going to Midtown.
Yes.
Right, I feel like with me, it's like, I had the same feeling growing up, and but I didn't overly question it. I was sort of like, well, it's what I have around me, so
exactly.
I'm not really gonna stress it, but you were conscious. You knew that going into Midtown Manhattan was completely different than the food options you had back home in the Bronx.
Yes, I did. I did. And again, like you said, I was extremely conscious at a young age, and just going and seeing the difference made me start, again, my journey into food and actually looking at nutrition and seeing that it all lies with what we actually put in our bodies. When it comes to illnesses, feeling sick, diabetes, cancer, it all stems from what we're actually putting in our bodies. Most of the food here in the Bronx are processed. What are we getting out of processed foods? There's no nutrition in them. So what are we have to think to ourselves, what are we getting from?
I think it's a short burst of something in our system, right?
Yeah, I'm full
but
now.
Right.
I can pass, but that's not the energy you actually need, because it's going to drain you at the end of the day.
Right.
It's not healthy at all. It's going to take from you more than you actually believe it's putting into your system.
Do you follow a specific type of diet, or, well, I mean, I hate to use the word because I feel like, or a lifestyle?
So I would say my lifestyle is more farm to table type of lifestyle,
farm to table,
if you would like to say so. And I say that being that most of the sauces I make is straight from the farm, and it's produce based. So I do make my own barbecue sauce, my own hot sauce, my own sofrito, which is my sofrito actually is my main marinade for most of my proteins. So, and I love that I created this because I feel like it's easy for moms to use, or people that's in school when they need something fast and they don't know what I can put into that or on the salmon to make that taste better. So I made a sofrito where you can just, marinate your your proteins and things of that sort. You can actually make rice with the sofrito. It could be your base. So again, all of my my sauces start off with my produce, and it's fun to taste.
I read an interview with you that you somebody had asked you about your sofrito, and you said that salt is something that you don't love to use.
No.
You'd rather sort of substitute your sofrito with salt. Are there any things that you do not use when you cook? Are there just any ingredients that you do not you push aside because you'd rather push a much more healthier lifestyle?
Well, everyone loves butter. I would like to say I love butter.
Don't tell me you don't use butter. Please tell me you use butter.
I actually make my own butter.
You make
That's
your own
what
butter?
I was gonna say. Yeah,
Well,
I make
okay.
my own butter. So I tell people I'm like your old granny
You're churning butter?
Yeah, I'm turning
That's
butter
so
in the
great.
corner. Yes, that's me. And it's pretty easy and logical actually when you make it. You can use it. You can make it with your kids. You can give them something to do while you're, finishing the rest of your. Yeah, like and I say it's easy because literally you just need your whole milk or your cream rather, and you're just shaking it until it's butter.
Right, right.
That's it. So it will be a great hobby for, again, kids. You just put them in a corner, do this for me for a
Drink some
while.
butter.
Yeah, drink some water. It's an exercise. You can use it as an exercise.
Right.
A lot of people are trying to lose this here, whatever fat you want to call it. So you can use it as an exercise. But I do make my own butter for the most part. I don't like to buy anything that's store-bought. Anything that has a quote-unquote shelf life.
Right.
I technically try to stay away from when it's bottled up, because the FDA also allowed 20 maggots in your canned produce. I mean, in your cans.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can understand. There's so many arguments. There's so many arguments against the idea of shopping for certain things that you can make.
If you can make it fresh at home, why not?
Right? Why not make it?
Why not?
That makes sense to me. I want to go back. You had mentioned that your father became sick.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons that you decided to jump into the world of food.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about your father's illness?
So my father smoked cigarettes for a long period of his time and life, rather. And when he was roughly 42, he got cancer, and it was throat cancer. They actually ended up taking out his vocal box and everything, so he has no vocal box, so it's hard for him to communicate with anyone else. But I picked up to, not sign language, but I read lips pretty well, so that's the way we communicate. Right. Also, he used the muscles of his stomach to create a voice. But when this actually occurred, being that my mother became somewhat of his caretaker, I also knew that, again, I had to fend for myself and my siblings.
Right.
So that was my reason in going into it, besides the lack of, again, options that I was able to seek out. If I did wanted a quick meal, there was lack of that.
Right.
And then, I actually started off doing a topical cream for cancer patients or people who have minor body pains, and that's with using either THC or CBD oil. And I felt that I had to create this because when you see a person taking 20 plus pills a day, and again, this is on a daily basis, and this is something that he has
20 pills
daily, and this is for the rest of your life. It's like, no, there has to be something else.
Absolutely.
You're not telling me I have to take that, and then with one thing counteracting the other, and then no.
Right.
We have to stop somewhere.
Right.
So with the body pains, I did help him out with that, which is pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Because you do consider yourself a naturalist.
Yes, I do consider myself a naturalist. No medicine over here at all.
So tell me about a little bit about CBD, THC, your usage for it. You have the cream. Do you cook with it? Do you make?
Yes.
Okay.
I love cooking.
Tell me
with
about that, because I am fascinated by that. I've been to some events in Brooklyn, some infused dinners, and I'm an advocate for it. I have no problem with it. I feel like there's really nothing wrong with it. I think it's still it's a very touchy subject with certain people.
Yes.
Even I used to have a problem admitting to people that I was pro it because I just felt like, you know, I don't want certain folks to misunderstand me or
Absolutely.
judge me a certain way. But the older I've gotten, I'm like, who cares?
Yep.
It's something that has so many benefits.
Absolutely.
So what kind of meals do you make with
Well, I can make anything and everything with CBD or THC. It's for that fact. It just basically have to have a fat component for it to stick to.
Okay.
So anything, again, I can create. My last dinner, I did make a cannabis infused sea bass, which was excellent. It was
Sounds delicious.
It was absolutely amazing. And for the most part, I actually got into cooking with cannabis because, again, my father having that illness and having a lot of body pains. So taking away that from his body pains, as well as I don't ever mention to anyone, but I actually suffer from scoliosis. And it helps me out, being that I don't take medicine as well. And that was my only type of medicine or my only relief.
I see.
So with that being said, THC and CBD are two different plants. As we know, we can get CBD oil and products, I want to say, almost everywhere now.
Seems like
it's
like it's
pretty broad. You
pretty
can get it
broad,
in deli or whatever. THC you're not going to find as much, and it's because of the government, as we know, and legally. But again, either one I like to cook with. I do know, obviously we know that THC does come out in the bloodstream, so that's the reason why people haven't all separated.
Right.
And again.
I do want to continue that conversation when we come back. I want to talk about the differences between both and a little bit more about scoliosis.
Yes.
That you have. Right, guys, grab yourselves a snack. Foodie Down Bronx, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, M, the Hungry Dominican, and I'm joined on set by Chef MariVee. So, Chef, this is our very cool little cooking location here.
Yes,
Can you tell me what we're going to dive into? Because I see some scrimps.
So, yes, today we have some scrimps, like you said, and we have some spinach. We have our buttered rolls, avocado, carrots, pears, you know, a little bit of the whole nine.
So I'm assuming this all smells and looks like po' boy?
Yes,
is what we're doing?
it is.
Okay.
So we're doing some shrimp fall po' boys.
Fall,
And
okay. Fall, because this is a summer food.
yeah,
Right?
I would like to say so. Summer, spring, usually we'll go for that po' boy. But my whole twist is that I actually add pears. Pears.
I've never had po' boy with pears.
Yes,
Okay.
I know. It's my thing. Of course
Very
you
cool.
did. But
Very cool.
So pears is also a fall fruit. A lot of people like to kick them out of the window and just think that apple is the main fruit. But pear is something that we should definitely be indulging in this fall. So that's why I implement that. Also, I think it's such a great, small, decadent sandwich. You can actually pack for your kids. You can, we have football nights, you know, there's the NBA is back. I know everybody is watching that.
Absolutely.
So this is something fun, small, simple, easy peasy,
Nice.
beautiful cover girl.
I like it. So before we took our break, I had said that I wanted to talk more about your scoliosis and THC and CBD.
Yes.
So how do you, so I'm assuming you use your own cream on you as well, or
Yes.
how else do you deal with your scoliosis?
So I deal with my scoliosis by food as well, so the ingestion of CBD or THC. So the difference again from CBD is that it wouldn't get you high, technically, right?
Right.
And THC will.
Right.
That's the chemical component and the only big difference. CBD is going to make you feel relaxed and get all of those tensions, help with your anxiety if you happen to have that. Again, arthritis pain is really great for arthritis pain. And it just I would say it attests to the person. Because again, I do either CBD or THC. It just depends on where I'm at.
Right. Yes.
Where I'm at.
What kind of day you've had, or what kind of buzz you want.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So it varies, right?
Let me ask you about CBD. Is there how much do you have to use in order to actually feel something? Because again, it does, it's all about the person really, and kind of where they are mentally and what they're looking for. But is there a certain amount of dosage or how much you have to use to actually feel something? Because we had mentioned that CBD seems to be so ubiquitous, it's everywhere.
Right.
And a lot of it can't be real.
No.
No. So is there a proper way to use it, or how much do you have to?
Again, I say that actually varies on what products you're buying.
Right.
Where you're buying it from.
Where you're buying it from,
because it all depends on the extraction of
Okay.
the plant. So that, I per se, 3.5 is great.
That's great.
You don't need anything more than that.
Right.
You're not going to get anywhere. Again, CBD is not going to get you high.
Right. It's more about that calming effect.
It's the calming effect,
Okay.
and you would definitely reach that.
Okay. Is any of this infused? No, I'm just wondering.
I would love. But this is my sofrito, actually.
Oh, that's just, okay, awesome.
Yes, that I can mix infused or not infused. And again, this is a marinade that you can put.
Can I just dip my head in there?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Isn't it?
That's very nice.
Isn't it? Oh my God.
Nice.
This is amazing. You can chicken, shrimp, your vegetables, make your rice, beans. Oh my God, beans.
Yes, for sure. Beans. Yes.
Beans. You put that in your beans. That's it.
You're
you don't have to put anything else. That's
your beans are perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
Okay, so let's start making this. But I also want to ask you about your unframed palette.
Whew.
Tell me about that. Because I love the concept. I'm not going to say what the concept is, but I did find out what it was, and I think it's very, very cool. So tell me a little bit about that.
People see me, and the first thing they think is, oh, she must be a model. And that's where actually Unframed Palette came from. It's like, don't place me in a box.
I did read about you had an experience at a Michelin restaurant. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I feel like that's where the concept of Unframed Palette came from. Right?
Absolutely.
Because, as you said, people see you, people will just look at you, assume something right off the bat, and then you're nothing more than just this pretty thing, and that's it, right? So but again, tell me about your experience in this restaurant. What exactly happened?
So, as I said, people see me, the first thing they think initially is that I'm a model. So as a chef, and knowing myself and knowing the career path I wanted to go into as a young age. I would go into restaurants and try to apply and be an asset, as I would consider myself.
Right.
And the first thing that would come out is, you'll be a distraction in the kitchen. Excuse me? A distraction, but what about my skills?
Right.
So yes, that's where Unframe Me started from. It's, don't place me in that box.
Right.
Please ask me a question prior to you just disclosing who you believe I am. Because I am more than just a face.
Right.
I am more than just my hands. I am more than just my color. I am a whole mogul.
Right. Right.
That's definitely dipping in different avenues in her life and looking to grow and to continue grow. So Unframed Palette is an umbrella of what I'm about to take on. Very
nice. So you clearly you've been through that, not just in the restaurant industry or the food. It's sort of the thing you've always dealt with.
Always,
right?
Always. Anywhere I go.
And you felt like you've always been mischaracterized.
Absolutely.
As soon as somebody sees you, right? Yeah, I understand that.
As
I understand that because because I'm so beautiful. No, it's not, it's I understand that because
You are.
because I've been dipping my toes into the food world, and that's exactly what I hear that a lot, especially from female
You're not a
chefs.
chef.
No, but I know a lot of chefs. I'm in that world, and that's something that, you start finding out what the workplace rituals are.
Oh, yes.
What certain biases happen in certain workplaces, and that's the one thing that sort of is high on the list of people in the food industry, especially with female chefs.
Yes.
I can't work here, or someone doesn't take me seriously enough because of the way that I look.
Absolutely.
So that I can understand where you're coming
There's
from.
not many restaurants that you will see an executive female chef.
Right.
You can see an executive pastry chef that's female, right?
Sure, sure.
But have you seen an executive female chef?
Yeah. No, I don't think I have.
Not many.
All right, so let's get back to this fall po' boy.
So here we're going to just add in our mix.
Potato salad looking.
Is it our potato salad
shrimp.
looking mix, which is actually shrimp. And again,
so
the cream here, guys, now. So I personally don't like mayo.
You don't like mayo.
I don't
so
like mayo.
I'm going to give you a look right now.
I know, I give that look. I usually get
really
that look.
nuts right now.
Okay, so we could give each
Okay,
other
yeah,
a look.
yeah. You don't like mayo.
I don't like mayo.
Okay.
But what we added in here, we can add cashew butter, which is awesome to use. Ranch, if you like, sour cream, any of those components will work with this.
Perfect.
And then, again, you want to make sure you don't forget your avocado.
Right, we have some avocado, and what else did we sprinkle on top of this right here?
Just a little bit of scallions and carrots.
Okay.
Also, we cannot forget the cilantro.
Cilantro, right.
Of course.
Which is, I believe, your favorite thing to cook with?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
I cannot cook without cilantro
You can't
nor
live without it?
garlic.
Cilantro, garlic. Those two things you have to have in your
Or
kitchen.
oregano, holy. Yeah.
So cilantro, garlic, oregano are the three things you have to have in your kitchen
Must
all the time.
have.
Ooh, okay, fantastic. All right, so I'm going to take a bite of this. I'm going to probably make a huge mess, so I apologize in advance. But it's how I do it.
Yes.
But this looks super, super delicious.
I need to know. How
Should I? Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I love this. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let me take a quick picture because this is super cool.
Right.
This looks really great.
I think I should take a photo
Of course.
as well.
Definitely take a picture before I scarf it down.
Yeah, you know it's not going to happen.
Okay, here I go. Here I go. This looks really awesome. Delicious.
How is it?
Bravo. Bravo, chef.
Do you like it?
Very good. Yeah, it's very good. The pears are actually a beautiful addition to that. That's great. Okay, guys, stay connected with Chef MariVee on Instagram at Chef MariVee. An Unframed Palette will be taking place on Sunday, November 3rd from 2 to 7. Visit eventbrite.com and type in Unframed Palette Brunch. We're taking a quick break. Foodie down Bronx. We'll be right back.